All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today for our Q2 billing webinar. I'm Andrea Kassoff, Finance and Operations Manager here at Bridge. I'm joined today by Mike Sands, who's our VP of Client Success and Operations. Mike is going to walk us through how to run billing in Atlas, and we'll do a demo and have some time for Q&A. So you'll be able to chat in any questions you have during the presentation. We'll try to just address those kind of as we go. We'll leave a couple minutes at the end to do some additional Q&A if there's more questions, but everyone will be muted on the call. One other quick reminder, just at the beginning here, July 5th, Monday, July 5th is a market holiday. So just wanted to flag that to everybody. If you run billing that day, you will be able to run billing in Atlas, but if you go to collect your fees at the custodian, then you may not receive that for a day or two, since Monday is that holiday. And one other quick reminder, we're recording this session. We will send out the recording afterwards. So you can look for that in your email probably tomorrow. And with that, I will hand the presentation over to Mike.
Andrea. Thank you everybody also for joining today. I see some names that I recognize, so hope everybody's doing great today. Again, this is just going to be an overview of how billing is run in Bridge. So today's agenda, some introductions, which we've already made good progress on. Then how an account is included in billing, some updates since last time. So if you're joining us for a second quarter or a second billing webinar, just some updates that we've seen. And then I'm going to dive into a demo. During that demo, I'm going to try to show you how to create and assign fee structures, how to create and assign billing groups, renaming accounts and households, how to run billing, and then how to get further help. And then at the end, we'll make sure to end with a Q&A, but honestly, these webinars are a lot more fun for everybody involved, myself included, if questions come in. So please ask questions as they come in. Andrea will flag them to me and then I'll be able to answer them. So please ask questions as they come up. With that, today's goals, different from the agenda, are really to provide an overview of the basics of billing, to orient you to where billing and how billing is run on Bridge, to answer any questions that you might have, and then finally to show you how to get further help. Bridge's system, Atlas, is really designed to be very customizable while at the same time being usable right out of the box. So I'm going to show you how to use it right out of the box and sort of point you towards where those customizations are available. And if you have any questions, either during the webinar or when you're running billing, please don't hesitate to be in touch. We'd love to help make sure that things are set up correctly so that your billing is as easy as possible, especially this quarter with it going into the long weekend, the July 4th weekend. We want to try to get everybody done and dusted on the 1st and 2nd. So I started off, how is an account included in billing? This is one of the questions that we hear a lot. Why does this account not appear in billing? In order for an account to be included in a billing run in Atlas, and that is in order to have a fee calculated, it needs to have first a billing group, which basically is what accounts count toward the billable balance and how do we get those assets. And then 2, it needs a fee structure. And that answers the question of how do we actually calculate the fee. Both of these are assigned at the account level. So that is, it's not a household level fee structure or a household level billing group. It's a account level billing group and an account level fee structure. I'll show you how to assign both of those during the demo. But just as you're going through and thinking about this, each account needs to have 2 things done to it in order for it to be included in billing. And some updates from last time. So one big thing is that we've refactored our billing code. What does that mean? So I know that that's a very technical term. It means that you're going to be able to run billing faster, up to 10 times faster for larger firms. That's a big deal because it'll also mean less congestion and queuing during that time period. I know if you've been with us for a little while, everybody runs billing at quarter ends, both our monthly customers, our monthly clients, and our quarterly clients. So it can be, there's a lot going on and there can be some slowdowns. And so we've been working this quarter to really improve the speed with which we can get through billing, which means that there's going to be less congestion and queuing. Sort of like if you raise a speed limit, but you're running the same number of cars through, you can get more cars through in the same period of time. Same general thought there. This is going to be ready. It's in final testing. We've been doing a lot of testing over the last, I'd say about a month of testing, and it's going to be turning it on this weekend, doing final testing. Be ready for you at the start of the month in July. And then one note here is just that generating invoices will be shorter than it was before, but still take longer than just doing billing without invoices. So if you don't need invoices or you're running like a test billing to make sure everything looks all right, always recommend deselecting invoices as we're doing it. I'll pause here for a second. Are there any questions thus far? I know I've gone quickly, and I know we have one last bit here on the slide. If not, the last bit here is percent asset adjustments. And what that means is we've added in this feature, I think, early last quarter or late last quarter, where you can actually bill on a percent for a type of asset. So for example, if you want to bill 50% of your rate on cash, or for fixed income type securities, you want to bill 2/3 of your normal rate and discount it off. You can do that now. And if you're interested in doing that, or you would like to do that, please let us know, and we can sort of show you what that is. But I want to just flag it to everybody that that is now available. Before, you were only able to include or exclude assets, essentially 0 or 100. Now you're able to pick any whole number percentage in between there. And then the other thing I'd like to talk about quickly is just the billing customizations available. I mentioned this at the beginning. There are fee relocations, so moving a fee from one account to another within the same billing group, billing minimums where you will charge an account or a billing group even if they are not hitting even if they're not being charged a fee, and asset exclusions and splits. So again, that asset exclusions is what I was just mentioning, and splits is if you have a larger firm with multiple advisors, you can code into our system how those splits are, so to help your bookkeeping department on the back end to figure out who gets paid what. But like it says on the slide, we're going to skip these for the demo because we're just trying to get the basics and then show you where you can learn more about these. So during the demo, creating and assigning fee structures, creating and assigning billing groups, renaming accounts and households, running billing, and getting further help. If anybody else has any other topics they'd like me to cover, please toss them in the chat. I will try to get to them as we go through. I sort of budgeted a little bit of extra time as we go through this. So I'm going to stop my share here, and I'm going to jump into our demo firm environment. So bear with me just one moment. Should be back up. Can everybody see my screen? Andrea, is this visible?
Yep, looks good, Mike.
Great. So this is the main page that you'll log in. Again, this is all demo data. So if you see anything unusual with the data, for instance, a firm that suddenly has a drop, that's just how it is in our demo environment. So don't worry too much about the actual numbers. It's really just showing you where things are and what the structure might look like. So the time comes to run billing. So you come in here to revenue, and that's going to be your main tab here. You're going to see here what we call the billing quick check, which gives us the billing status. What fee structures do we have? We have 7. And how many billing groups are there? There's 3. You'll see here that we have 35 accounts without fee structures, and we have 45 ungrouped accounts. These accounts are not going to be included in billing. So we'd have to fix that. In order to identify the accounts without fee structures, let's take care of this first. We come into clients, and then we're going to go to accounts, and we go to fee structures here. We can filter down, clicking this little triangle, downward pointing triangle, click blanks, and then click OK. And that's going to give us all of the accounts that do not have a fee structure currently assigned. And we can also assign them directly here in this screen. So I'm going to pick these, and I'm going to assign a fee structure, come up here to the hand with money, click that, and say this is in my standard tiered rate. The other thing I'd like to flag is if you have a number of fee structures and you're not seeing it appear here, you can actually search and it will pull up all of them. This is limited just so it's not a really super long list, but you can always type in the name of the fee structure that you're looking for, or a partial name, and it will come up. As you see, I typed in stand, and it pulls up standard, and then also drop off standard. Click that and click assign, and that will assign those fee structures. And notice they actually disappear from the sheet here because I filtered down only to the accounts that don't have fee structures. I also will want to clear out my selections. You'll notice I'm still selecting with 6 fees here, or 6 accounts here, excuse me. If I need to create a fee structure, revenue, fee structures, and this is where I'm able to create new ones. So again, I can create new ones here with all of the name, collection type, structure, valuation, billing frequency, etc. and then I'll assign them in the clients tab. So that's sort of the first half of getting your accounts ready for billing, is assigning fee structures. Any questions on that? I'm going to pause for about 10 seconds while I take a drink and see if there's any questions. Okay, so now that we've sort of assigned some fee structures, we want to look at how do we create and assign billing groups. So same idea. We come into the revenue and we see, okay, there are 3 billing groups. 7 are grouped accounts and 45 are ungrouped. So how do we find the accounts that are not in billing groups? Same method as finding ones that don't have fee structures. Come into clients, accounts, scroll down, add in the column for billing group. And it's going to pop up here. And what I want to do then is filter down just to the blanks that we have. So in this case, these are all the ones that don't have billing groups. Now, what I like to do in this case is, so we have a total of 45 accounts that are selected. We assign billing groups in a different way, so it's not quite here on the front page as easy as fee structures. So what I like to do is actually export this, so I can download this to Excel. And that way I have a list of all the ones I need to assign, and then I can go through and create them. So I can create only the ones that I selected, and this gives me an ability to pull this up on a separate screen and say, okay, I need to do the manual holding account 3, manual holding account 5, and put these in the correct billing groups. To assign to billing groups, I'll come back to revenue, billing groups, and here's where the billing groups actually live. So here you see we have 3 billing groups: test, Rachel and Alex, green household, manual account. So let's say I wanted to create a new one. I'll create a new billing group. And then I'll select which accounts I want. Now you'll notice that all of the ungrouped accounts float to the top. So you don't have to go all the way down or search through all of them, or type in a search. You can just see right here at the top. Generally, if you're adding in a couple new clients every billing period, this is a really easy way of saying, oh, it's the, let's see here, the Cameron Wolf account. I'll add that as a billing group here. And what I like to do is actually select that account. And that gives you the ability to create billing groups and assign additional accounts or new accounts. So if a client opens a new account, you can come in and add it to an existing billing group. Or if a new client comes on, you can come on and do that. I just happen to mouse over there. You can actually rename billing groups right here as well. Any questions on that? That's sort of like the first 2 bullet points of our demo that I wanted to cover. So I'm going to pause there just for a second and see if there are any questions. The last thing we like to sort of pull in, oh, it looks like there is a question.
Yep, we've got one question from Emmanuel Henson. Can you create a group for billing but exclude them for performance reporting? Good question.
That's a great question. And in fact, yes, we can, because performance reporting is run out of the households, not the billing groups. Adult children who will be a part of the parent's household group. That's exactly right. So in that case, let's say the Rachel and Alex Green household, we have these 3 accounts. And let's say we wanted to add an additional account here. I could say, let me map this Luca Test account to the Rachel and Alex Green household. But let's say I want to keep that in a separate billing group. That's not a problem. This is still in the Cameron Wolf billing group. You can also say, put all of those accounts into the Cameron, in this case, the Rachel and Alex Green household, and have them be in multiple households for reporting. What I like to say is households are for reporting, billing groups are for billing. Most of the time, they're the same thing, but in cases like you're describing, Emmanuel, like that's going to be where they're not the same thing. I hope that answers your question. If not, write in more and we'll circle back. That gives me a good segue to renaming households and accounts. Anything you see here, any of the accounts or households, you can actually rename. So here I can rename this as household 2, and then come back over here to the disk and click save. So anything with the pencil, I can rename it. We've gotten some questions also about what do these trash cans do? Is this going to delete accounts from my Atlas? It won't. What these trash cans do is actually remove the household rather than the accounts. As from the user side, you're never able to delete any data or any account data or performance data. You can't. That's not possible. So don't worry too much about that. Nor can you remove accounts from the data feed or anything like that. If you need to have an account no longer appear in your Atlas, let us know at support and we'll be able to deactivate it. It keeps the performance history in the data. It just means that it's turned off and you don't see it. Similarly, you can rename accounts as well. And then you can change it here. Looks like we have another question.
Yeah, we have another question from Bill Aquila. I have a handful of clients, 8 clients, that need to be householded together for billing purposes, but still require their own separate invoices that show only their info. Currently, I have to submit a service request to have those invoices created separately. Is that still the case, or am I able to do this on my end now?
Nope. So we are creating what we are calling invoice groups, which does allow for exactly the use case that you're describing. Right now, we don't have that functionality yet, but it is coming this next quarter. So it is something that we're working on, and I think it's a great question. That's something one of the things that we want to be being able to put on the front end so that you don't have to submit those service requests. We will definitely keep you posted, believe me, because we're excited for that too, because it means less manual work on our part that requires checking. Anything done by a computer is always going to be done more reliably than people who are having to do the thing over and over. So now the last part of it is going to be running billing, actually running what the billing looks like and then seeing what that looks like afterwards. So when everything is ready, when we've assigned our fee structures, when we've included our accounts in our billing groups, when we've renamed them to make sure that everything looks like we want it to, come here, click Run Billing. This is going to let us know if there are any fee structures that need to be assigned. You can assign them directly from here as well. We're just going to skip this for the time being. We're going to skip this as well for the time being. This is just assigning billing groups. You can do that from here as well. And this just gives us reviews. These are the customizations that I mentioned before: invoice settings, asset adjustments, fee relocations, billing splits, and billing minimums. Any questions there, please be in touch. Also, our help knowledge base is pretty extensive. Those are the terms you want to search for, and we will get a wealth of information. Clicking continue, we're going to select a standard period. So in this case, our standard period is going to be June. The default will be changed before you're running billing here next week, because we want it to be the ending month of the period that we're billing, in this case, Q2, so June. And then we can select invoices to create or not. I'm going to deselect that. And then we can also receive an email notification when ready. The idea there is that you can hit it and go and walk away for a cup of coffee, or have a meeting and then come back when it's ready. Generally, I would say with the new billing updates, you're not going to need this if you're just running without invoices. But if you're running with invoices, it's a good idea to select it and click Run from Billing. And it'll be notified when it has completed, and this way it has been completed. This is going to be a relatively limited one because there's only a few accounts in it. There's manual holding account that have both the fee structure and billing group. But I wanted to look at an older one that's a little bit more fully assigned. With this one that we ran earlier, you can see that each billing report is going to have a snapshot of the overall firm balance, each of the accounts. It'll show you what the billable balance was, the account period fee, and the debited fee. Those two may be different if you have a fee relocation. In this case, I would say that this manual holding generated almost $4,000 in fees, but it was not debited from this account. It looks like it was probably debited from this account. It was relocated. If at any point you want to see how this billing group was calculated, click on the calculator, and then it'll give you the calculation details. And it'll show you, here's what the overall calculation details look like, the group billable balance, the structure and the fees and how they get applied, and then for each account fee, how the fee was calculated. So it'll actually step you through each part of the calculation to get the account period fee. Splits I mentioned are for if you have a larger firm with what's what I'm looking for, multiple advisors, and this will show you that in this case there were 2 splits. None of them were affecting this group, but we'll be able to see that on the main page what those would look like. This is all ways of getting you access to dive in and confirm, okay, this is what the billing kind of looks like, and making sure that it all looks correct. In this case, advisor 1 gets this split, advisor 2 gets this split. The last thing I'll highlight here is everything is exportable to Excel. We want to be able to make it so you can export it and get it out of Atlas and manipulate it on your own in your spreadsheets if you like. This is useful if you're checking something against a previous software that you're comparing us against, or if you have sort of changes that you want to make in terms of discounts or credits or anything that Atlas doesn't handle, sort of one-off situations. That's a good way of doing that, to be able to export out. And the last thing I'll highlight here is if you have more accounts than this, you can actually filter down and search for individual accounts. The last piece of billing, looks like we have one more question. Andrea?
Yep, got it. Another question from Emmanuel. Thanks so much for your questions. For a tiered billing schedule, are discounts above tiers spread equally over the accounts?
Yep, and so yes, the short answer is yes. What happens is for a billing group, all of the assets are aggregated together in order for billing purposes, and that gives us the billable balance. Then we apply the tiers against the billable balance, and then we calculate the overall fee for the group, and then we distribute that fee proportionally down into each of the accounts based off of the assets, the percentage of assets of the account that make up the overall billable balance. So for example, if you have two accounts, each of which have $500,000 and it adds up to $1 million, and the tiers are at 500, 750, and $1 million, we calculate it as if you have $1 million in the account, figure out what the fee is. Let's say in this case, it's $10,000. Then we would distribute that $10,000 equally among the two accounts because the assets are equally distributed. If that scenario is exactly the same, except one account had $900,000 and one account had $100,000, we would take that, I think it's a $10,000 fee, and distribute $9,000 to the larger account and $1,000 to the smaller account. I hope that answers your questions, but again, thank you so much for the questions. Makes it a lot more interactive. So in terms of getting your, the last part is always making sure that you get paid, in the sense of making sure that you're able to collect your, what's what I'm looking for? The fee upload file and any invoices that you may have generated. So there's two ways of, let's do the fee upload file first, so you can always make sure you get your money. Click here in the actions. This is the most recent billing report that we have, and click download fee upload. This is going to be a file that is going to be not customized, formatted for each of the different custodians. Thank you very much. Formatted for each of the different custodians. So for TD, it'll be formatted for TD, for Schwab, etc. If you have multiple custodians, it will give you multiple files, each of which are formatted for the accounts in each of the respective custodians. The idea is to make it as easy as possible. Then you can just take that and load it directly into your custodian to get the fees withdrawn and pulled into your Sundry account. You'll also notice that on this, I can also download invoices. This will give me a bulk download of all the invoices. Basically, it'll take all the PDF invoices, zip them together, and you can download them there, and you can actually then open them on your computer and have them all in one place. The other way of seeing individual invoices is coming here to the Invoices tab, and you can see, for example, this will show you what the invoice looks like on the web. This is an example. You see it looks very similar to the billing report that's on by design. We want to make sure that you have the same information, that your clients have the same information that you do, and that you can have a conversation about the invoice if should they desire to. You'll see also you can download these, you can download multiples, you can download individuals, multiple ways of getting the invoices back. That is largely billing end to end, from setting up, identifying the fees, the accounts that need fee structures and invoice billing groups assigned, all the way through to submitting your fee upload file to the custodian.
Mike, we got one more question from Emmanuel. Can you show us an invoice for a billing report that includes multiple households?
Good question. I think it'll look exactly the same, because again, households are for reporting and billing groups are for billing. So for example, in this case, these first three accounts might be in one household. These last two accounts might be in a different household. all those invoices will be pulled together if you pull them all together into a single billing group. On the flip side, if you have multiple billing groups in a household, that also will be the same because it'll just show at the account level. Again, I think going back to the beginning, I said that the billing groups and fee structures are assigned at the account level. And that's precisely why, because it gives us the flexibility to have multiple households in a billing group or multiple billing groups in a household. That was a great question.
Very good question.
Any last questions? I know I speak fast. Part of it is that I'm always excited to help people make their billing be quicker, because I talk to advisors all day and I hear how much overhead it can be to actually run billing, especially if you're coming from a manual system. So I always like being like, we're going to save you time and it's going to be much better. So I get excited about all the different ways in which we can kind of make it easy for advisors. If there's not any other questions, I know we're coming up on time here. I had one last bit of, the last thing on the agenda is to figure out or to show how to get additional help. So first is the comment box here. And Manuel, I see your last question. We'll touch on that in just one moment. If you click on this, you type in here, you can send us a message to ask a question, or you can search for articles here. So for instance, if you're looking for fee structures, that will show you creating fee structures, assigning fee structures, how to navigate accounts, which actually is how to find accounts without fee structures. And then you can also see more results. You'll notice also there's old webinars on there as well if you want to go back and see how to do it. This will also appear there. Or you can send us a message. That's a picture of me. And there's Andrea hiding behind me, and our data lead, Joe, in the back for any technical questions. It looks like we have one more question from Emmanuel.
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel. How do you address privacy concerns in the prior situation? Can you exclude account balances for showing the fee, but exclude the balance of the accounts not included in the household group?
Yep, and that's a great question. And that's really why we're building the feature of invoice groups, sort of what Bill was talking about earlier in the webinar around he writes in and gets invoices created separately. That's what we do for him, and we're building the invoice group, what we call invoice group, again, to accommodate exactly that privacy. So what we recommend is if you have that, obviously be in touch. We're happy to work with you to figure out the best way to do it currently for this billing run. But then we'll also want your feedback on how to design that new feature and how to make it meet your needs as well as the needs of other clients of ours that have similar situations. And finally, the last slide, coming back over to billing webinar, is getting further help. Help.bridgeft.com is a really good resource. That's where our knowledge base lives in a website. You can also look at it in the chat bubble on the bottom right. Atlas Chat is the intercom there on the bottom right. And obviously, you can always email in to support@bridgeft.com. Especially around the times of end of quarter when everyone's billing, everyone on the team pitches in and tries to help out where we can. So we try to get a large amount of support there. It will be very busy for us, so I hope that you're able to understand it. We'll try to prioritize based on urgency of needs, or like if there's a big issue or a small issue. So if you're writing in on something that isn't necessarily pertinent to billing, we may deprioritize it until after large groups of people have gotten their billing done. Just to make sure that everybody is able to collect their fees and get their money in a timely fashion. Thanks so much for coming today. I'm going to turn it back over to Andrea to close this out.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Mike. That was a great demo. Thanks for answering all those questions. Again, any questions that you have that come up, feel free to check out our knowledge base, chat into us from Atlas, or write to us at support@bridgeft.com. Thanks again for your time today. We hope that this has been helpful refresher for everybody. And again, we'll be sending this recording out. I'll probably get that out tomorrow to everyone. And then we'll also post this on our the help website also, so you can check back on it again later if you'd like to rewatch it. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. We hope everybody has a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.